The Fair Trade Independent Tobacco Association says the cigarette ban is illogical and has impacted negatively on poor people who've been forced to turn to the illicit market. Meanwhile, Advocate Marumo Moerane, representing President Cyril Ramaphosa and Cooperative Governance Minister and Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, says the state has a duty to reduce the burden on the health system during the era of COVID-19. Let's go live now. Our senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo watching both sides present their arguments at the High Court in Pretoria. Ziyanda, good afternoon to you. What legal action there today?
Well, Stephen, I can tell you that the state has had quite a tough time in front of the full bench of judges this afternoon, in particular Advocate Marumo Moerane, in terms of answering a specific question related to the effectiveness of the cigarette ban. We heard from Judge Basson asking a question that some people who, before the lockdown, were able to stockpile, and if the ban has not been effective in stopping people from smoking, what exactly has it achieved? And the state has been asked to provide evidence that the ban on the sale of cigarettes has actually assisted, one, in relieving the burden on the healthcare system, but that in fact it has actually curbed, smokers from actually continuing with their addictive habit. We've heard from the Fita lawyer, that is Advocate Subo, who has basically said that the government has failed to actually provide a rational and logical reasons behind this continued ban, citing, of course, the boom in the illicit, in the black market and illicit tobacco trade, but also calling out contradictions in the actual, regulations, that if the government is citing health concerns, then why have they allowed for the unbanning on the sale of alcohol? But to talk me through some of the arguments today is actually Fita chairperson Sinenhlanhla Mnguni. Thank you so much for your time, Sinenhlanhla. I just want you to talk me through, whether you're satisfied in the manner in which your advocate has represented your arguments today.
I definitely could not have asked better from our legal team. I think they sufficiently and succinctly dealt with many of the arguments which we had put forward in our papers, and detailed why we feel the ban on the sale of cigarettes is irrational, and further that the minister has acted ultra vires. Now, the state, as you would have seen in court, struggled to answer a number of questions which were posed to them by the judges comprising the full bench of the High Court today. And I don't think we could have asked better from our legal team, and as far as the argument that they put forward on our behalf today.
But also your team as well was asked significant questions around the medical literature and the medical expertise or the advice that was given to the minister. You are disputing that World Health Organization paper on COVID-19 and hospitalization. Why?
We are not disputing the document as provided by the World Health Organization, but what we're stating is that even that particular document itself states that the evidence at this stage is inconclusive in as far as the risks of smoking vis-a-vis the risk of contracting COVID-19. And this is what the state failed to consider, or rather the minister failed to consider, in that in the absence of conclusive evidence, how do you then make a decision of this nature? And we know, for instance, what the Disaster Management Act states in as far as the regulations need to be necessary prior to enacting them. And we do not feel that with the evidence at the minister's disposal that there was any rationality in as far as implementing the ban on the sale of cigarettes. As our legal counsel rightfully put it, at this stage, with so many acts coming to the fore, so many reports rather, coming to the fore in relation to the effects of smoking on COVID-19, we still do not have one peer-reviewed study which shows that there is a link between smoking and the bad effects of coronavirus.
Some might interpret, the part in your affidavit, of course, on behalf of Fita, regarding the president not filing an affidavit as politicking, because you have actually pointed out that President Cyril Ramaphosa has not actually signed or deposed an affidavit, and you're saying that this is because he himself has acknowledged that there isn't empirical evidence to substantiate this ban. Now, we heard President Dunstan Mlambo actually asking your legal counsel whether you're asking the court to speculate. Where exactly and why exactly are you actually making it a point to mention this?
Look, I think our counsel, and as far as that question, dealt with it adequately. I mean, what we're stating is that the President, his involvement here is crucial because he makes an announcement on the 23rd of April 2020, wherein he states unequivocally that the ban on the sale of cigarettes will be lifted. That issue is then not dealt with at all in the papers submitted by the respondents, being the Presidency and the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. And we submit that itself invites conclusions or inferences to be drawn in that how do you make such a decision, which would no doubt have been founded on some sort of scientific advice from the National Command Council and the Ministerial Advisory Committee. And what we're stating is that the President has failed to explain why that initial decision was taken, and when we requested that the reply in relation to that particular issue from the respondents, we were told that minutes relating to that particular issue are not available and or that they are classified. So we have put it forward to the court that on its own leaves a number of inferences to be drawn. I mean, we do not even have a single affidavit, whether confirmatory or substantive affidavit, from the President explaining why he made that decision.
All right, well, there you have it, Stephen. That's Sinenhlanhla Mnguni, Fita chairperson, addressing a couple of issues that, of course, were ventilated in court this afternoon. We know that judgment has been reserved, and Judge President Dunstan Mlambo saying that the judgment won't be handed down in open court, despite arguments, of course, being heard in open court, and saying that he does understand that this is an urgent matter, and so they will try to move expeditiously to attend to handing down that particular judgment, Stephen.
Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much indeed. All right, an important story. We'll keep watching that here at Newzroom Afrika for you. The first indication of when that judgment will be handed down, we'll bring that to you.